Are you ready to get casual? Grab your favorite adult beverage or combustible plant and join us for our roundtable TTRPG discussion. Oh yeah, it's time for Casual Friday. And now, here are your hosts.
Don't call it a comeback. The Landlocked Warlocks are here. Go Broncos. What's up, everyone? How are we doing? This is Casual Friday. I might have slipped some things in there. Welcome back. We haven't all been here. Yeah. There's a little visual gag if you're just listening. But hey, everyone, welcome. We haven't been here, the three of us, I think, in at least a month. I think it's been about a month since all three of us were
Feels,
here.
and it was a
So,
long month, guys.
indeed. Indeed, I aged about 18 months in that 1 month. What's up, casualties? So we're gonna catch up, and first up, let's get right into the Stranger Things discussion
Mm.
because the fifth and final season of the show completed airing about 2 weeks ago on December 31st after 8 episodes in the fifth season. And I wanted to start off the conversation by saying overall, I enjoyed it a lot. And there was one, also, obviously, I think spoilers kind of from here on out, because how could we not? There's one thing at the very end of the finale episode they did that I really, really liked, and I want to call out is that at the very end when then it's 18 months in the future and they're at their high school graduation and the cool girls come up to them and they're like, "Hey Dustin, that was a really radical thing you did just now. How about you guys come to we're having a party later. How about you all come over?" And they're all like, oh my God, we got invited to the party. This is very 80s trope, right? Except in the 80s, movies, they actually go to the party. But no, they put a twist on it and they said, you know what? Let's go play D&D instead. And so they finished the series, and I called this, like, I was like, I think this is how they're going to end the series. They did. They went and they played D&D because the lesson here was being true to yourself is better than being cool. Which, as I thought, was one of the lessons of the show, motifs of the show the whole time. I love that they ended it that way. Now, Ryan, I know you said you have some thoughts. Brad, you finished the series, right? I didn't just spoil the ending for you, did I?
I finished it.
Okay.
It took me a while to get through that last episode, just circumstances with the holidays and everything. Just I started and stopped that episode, I think, 3 different times to get through it. It had nothing to do with the show itself. It had everything to do with my chaotic life.
Mm,
And
indeed.
that last one was a movie. Like that was a movie.
Yeah, it was
And
almost
it did the.
over 2 hours.
And I saw some of the complaints that were also the same from like the people who never read Return of the King and just watched it. It's just like the bad guy's dead. How is there so much movie left? It's like, well, there's more story in the book. I enjoyed it. I think they stuck the landing. I had the experience of like many of us traveling during the holidays, so I didn't watch the Christmas drop. I didn't see, and I saw Reddit get all bent out of shape because somebody's gay, and I didn't know that was the context. But like people were really upset. I was like, oh man, this is a Game of the Thrones moment. I'm gonna like never rewatch this thing. Like this series that I loved so much is screwing up. Nah, they did good. Was it shoehorned in a little bit? I guess, but like we knew it was coming, and like I don't know, they handled it well. We had some good performances and some mixed performances. That's what happens when you cast children and bet on them for a decade. And yeah, I thought it was a really good ending. I have to shout out my buddy Bill, who will be catching the replay. He said that it was actually fitting that these 18-year-olds are being portrayed and 17-year-olds are being portrayed by people in their mid to late 20s now, because that is incredibly 80s. And that felt so true to me. Something that like the one little like piece of sand in my draw from this whole thing like became a pearl. It's like, oh yeah, this is like the John Hughes experience. The people who grew up in the 80s and the 90s were terrified to go to high school because what they had in their mind were grown-ups, not 17-year-olds, because everything on a screen was the Breakfast Club was, you know, whatever, Pretty in Pink was like grown ass people portraying these 16, 17, 18 year olds. So Bill thinks they did it on purpose. I think that's maybe giving the Duffer Brothers a little too much credit because you got to factor in COVID and the world. But it made my one main problem with this right. It's very 80s.
Yeah, I agree. If I can speak on the gay storyline, both of my daughters are bisexual and came out in their teenage years, and for them that storyline was really important. Being kids who have grown up with these characters, like literally, like my 17-year-old is the same age as these kids are supposed to be in the show, right? My 22-year-old is the same age as some of the actors that are in the show, right? And it was important to them to have that representation in the show. And the other half of my daughter's family is not accepting, and put a finer point on it, they're homophobic. And my daughter was with them for the holidays, and specifically asked her older brother that if shit comes up while the family is watching these episodes, and they want to like skip the scene or fast forward through it, she asked her older brother to have her back. And thankfully, the family was respectful. No one like made a big deal about it. No one tried to fast forward through it. My daughter made it very clear that she didn't want that scene skipped. It was important to her. It was a powerful moment for my daughter to stand up for herself, and her identity with that side of the family. I was super proud papa.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say one thing about the Will coming out scene. I had one specific problem with it. There was one line of dialogue I thought should have been cut, or actually probably moved. Right before the scene, the character said, "We need to leave in 5 minutes or the whole plan fails." And then they have this coming out scene. It triggered a very specific trigger within me. Ryan, you've seen Alice in Borderlands, and AIB, they do this multiple times where there'll be a clock ticking down where it's like 30 seconds left. If we don't solve this problem, we all die. And then one character will start laughing and be like, ha 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 ha. For you see, this actually reminds me of a game I used to play when we were children. And the clock's like 19, 18. And he's like, you see, in the game, there are 2 players. And I'm like, just no, do the thing, explain it later. So that was my feeling during the Will coming out scene. I was like, shouldn't they be getting in the cars now? There's like 12 of you, and you have to figure out who goes in which car. That was what I was feeling. But anyway.
Hey, storytellers. And that includes all Dungeon Masters are storytellers. It's a specialized version of storytelling. You don't have to say a number. You don't have to give it a specific time. You could just be like, urgency in many ways that are a little more open-ended and vague, and avoid that whole issue. You don't have to say a number. Turns on the whole other part of the brain that doesn't have to be involved in any of this.
So the next little mini topic here, I think, for Stranger Things discussion is Conformity Gate. Are you 2 aware of Conformity Gate?
We are. It's popping off in chat too. I think some of the things are just so famously or infamously, as Nacho's pointing out, they say chaotic bad, which that ain't it. That's wrong. Come on, that's basic D&D lingua franca there. But okay, my whole take on Conformity Gate wasn't that there should have been another episode or they screwed up and it was like too many inconsistencies. Like that's been the show the whole time. That's everything. You can pick it apart. Oh, that t-shirt wasn't around in 1987. That came out in 1989. Whatever. Suspend your disbelief. There's a wormhole to another dimension. We're gonna quibble about time traveling t-shirts. No. However, that like week there, and friend of the show Naigobi, among other folks out on the internet, went deep down a rabbit hole to the point where it's like, maybe this is true, maybe it is not. And in the modern internet era, I can so instantly verify the truth. It's going away with AI now, but like the existing in a place where I don't know what's real and is maybe happening, is this a conspiracy or whatever, was such a throwback experience. Like I've had it since the 80s, but I haven't had it in a long time. This idea that like, oh, maybe there's a secret episode is felt like the bonus album at the end of the CD where like the numbers keep ticking. So there's a secret song, and your favorite band is going to play a show under an assumed name down the street, and like just this feeling, this analog feeling of like anything could happen right now. That was my experience of the whole thing. I didn't think they were going to do it. I didn't see all the breadcrumbs connecting. But just the idea that for a very short little window of time, a lot of people thought maybe there was a super secret episode coming out that was gonna, I don't know, Bob Newhart the whole thing. I'm not really sure what they were hoping for.
Maybe,
But
just maybe.
that was cool. That's a thing that doesn't happen too often, at least in a mildly delightful way.
So Nacho's asking about a D&D consultant. It seems, there were multiple inaccuracies or anachronisms in the way the rules worked for D&D in Stranger Things. I personally don't care that that they used the 5th edition rules for wizards and sorcerers when those rules didn't exist until 3rd. I mean, the way they said a sorcerer's magic is innate, but a wizard learns it. And they were like, that was an important plot detail, and that didn't exist until 5th edition, I'm pretty sure. Or
Third edition.
3rd edition. Right. That's what I meant. 3rd edition. So definitely after the 80s.
Yeah. But again, like Ryan's saying, I suspend my disbelief in that situation because it was important to the plot to make a distinction between Eleven's powers and Will's powers, right? I mean, if they wanted to like just throw the baby out with the bathwater, they could have like identified, him more as a warlock than a sorcerer because he was deriving his power from Vecna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inaccuracies didn't bother me. I am just thrilled with positive D&D representation.
Yes.
For the first time maybe ever in a show, the D&D players got to be the heroes, the cool kids, the ones who saved the day. And at the end, they didn't go to the girls' party. They stayed home and played D&D because that's the cool thing to do after destroying Vecna. Do you hear the children still? I need you to be my spy one last time. Vecna's kind of like Agent Smith from The Matrix down a couple octaves.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson, humans are a virus. Any more to say about Stranger Things? I don't know.
If I was gonna nitpick a little bit on the actual like story itself and the action scenes, the way they were shot. One thing I really liked about the final battle with the Mind Flayer spider-like thing was that each kid had a different role, had a different weapon. That was very D&D. Like you had your fighters on the ground, and you had your ranged characters up on the ledge, and then you had your spellcaster on the inside. That was all very D&D, and I really liked that. The criticism I had there was we saw Eleven using her powers early on to do more than simple telekinesis, so like throwing stuff around and picking stuff up. Like we saw her using it to like jump further and basically more Jedi-like, using her telekinesis to do physical feats. And then we get to the final battle, and she and Vecna are basically just standing there with their hands out at each other. It would have been a much more dynamic fight scene if they were moving around more. That's a nitpick on the action sequence design. and I didn't like that nobody really died. That's just a personal preference of like the fact that everyone lived felt a little unrealistic to me.
Well, it was I've been saying for a couple of years the cast is too big.
Mhm.
They should have been
just
killing
added-
a lot more
they
people
added
off
a-
along the way.
They added a main character every season, at least
Yeah.
one main character every season, and then they did that this season. And everyone was upset. It's like this is the formula. There's a new kid every time. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
There was a beat there where they made us think that Steve had bought it, and I was like, oh, that hit me right in the heart. And then they pulled the punch, and I was like, fuck, he should have died. He
Yeah,
should have died there. Mm.
yeah. There were definitely opportunities where they could have knocked off one or two characters, especially if they had done it earlier in like the final episode or in the next to last episode to give it a little more of that horror feel. I think it did lack a little bit of the teeth that the previous season had.
Counterpoint: training montage. Rambo. I mean, they had a lot of good moments, a lot of good beats.
Definitely, there were plenty of references to 80s action movies in that. Yeah.
If anyone is missing the conspiratorial spirit of that week there where we thought there was it was all a dream and Vecna was in your head and there was another episode coming, look up the M Cave, because there was some deep lore of like conspiracy theory stuff. So like, this is not D&D related. I'll give a presentation. Come to my TED Talk later tonight. Montauk Project, M Cave, and I think Bob Lazar carried through. Like, it starts as it is the Montauk Project. This whole series is the Montauk Project. The M Cave was a huge part of this thing. And Google that, and you'll find a whole weird rabbit hole to go down. And then I'm pretty sure that dude was fleeing Area 51 with his little shard of the Great Old One that became the Vecna thing, and that looked like Bob Lazar's name tag on his thing.
So apparently, a lot of that stuff that happened in the cave with the guy with the spy and the briefcase was explained in the play. There was a Stranger Things Broadway play that explained how the guy got to be in the cave, and the play was made. Because remember in the final season, there's reference to them putting on Oklahoma back when Hopper and Joyce and all of them were in high school, when they went to high school with Henry Creel.
Mm-hmm.
And they put on Oklahoma. But then in Stranger Things, they were in these weird masks. It was definitely not Oklahoma. When they were going through Henry's like mind palace, and that's explained in the Broadway play, and how the spy got away with the shard of whatever. I didn't see it. I don't know. Of course, there was a Broadway play. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll learn things in the Tales from 85 whatever series. But from what I hear, the Stranger Things sequel, completely different story. Another something else that's strange. Maybe even more strange than this. The strangest thing. So moving on to the next thing that we're going to talk about. Since the last time that we were all here, the holidays happened. And so some of us got gifts for things. Some of us bought things for ourselves. And we thought we would do a communal show and tell here. So let me kick us off here, because this is pretty fun, what I've got here. I got to plug it in.
Oh.
Guys, Jim has been talking about this segment for weeks, since Christmas.
Nice.
So this is my...
man.
Oh, it's a
okay.
dice. It's a 20-sided die, basically.
But check it out. If I hold down, I can go 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, or 100. So I can roll a 6-sided die. And it gives you a nice little different...
Oh. Yeah, but you got a crit now. Does it crit?
Let's see if I can get it over here. Let me put it on the 4-sided. It'll be a lot quicker. That's a 1. Can you hear that?
He's rolling cold, folks.
Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, so That's one. Should I do all mine, or do we want to go around in rounds?
Go
Keep
ahead.
going.
Yeah, mine are all themed together, so I've got 4 things, but it's all interconnected.
Copy that. All right.
I only got 2 things, so Santa doesn't like me as much as these guys, I guess.
So the next thing is the quest calendar, the 2026 Souls of Saraku quest calendar, which this is like a daily calendar, but every day has some graphics, and on the back it's like a continuing adventure where there's a little thing to do every day, and you're playing a bad guy trying to rise up and become the main bad guy. And so on the first day, it's like you find a scroll if you want to, roll this to try to decipher the scroll. And so it seemed like a really good idea, but I tried it for a little while, and it's not that great because January 2nd always follows January 1st. It's kind of a railroady story. You can't go to a different date, right? It's like when you try to decipher the scroll, you either pass and you decipher it, or you fail and you still decipher it. You just take a point of damage. So that's basically all they can do, right? Because you have to go in the same steps, like the next thing. So this, not so much. But this 1,000-year-old vampire.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've heard a bunch of people really enjoy that.
So I've had this since Christmas now, and I've played it a few times, and I'm working on a video for it, and this is great. I love it. It's very, I'm gonna do a whole video all about it, and I'm actually gonna hire a professional voiceover, I think, for this video. But it's very fun. It's got some nice spooky stuff like the old tape. There's one other thing. The quest calendars, I don't love it, but they did send these itty bitty little baby dice. Itty bitty baby dice.
Nice.
And that's my stuff.
Cool.
This was what I was most excited to show off. This thing is so cool. I love it.
That thing is very cool. Very cool. I know I'm old because now the way I judge dice do they look cool? / can I read them? Because I got a bunch of cool dice. I've gone on this rant before. I have a bunch of cool dice that I will never touch again. Because when you're like, well, is that a 7? I don't know. There's enough impediments to moving the game along. I don't want legibility and doing this to be part of my gameplay.
Yeah. 100%.
So looping back around, my nephews got everybody Christmas gifts, which is nice. Is against the agreed upon rules of Christmas. Every family has to have some sort of arrangement of gift giving. That is always, someone always screws it up. And this time it was the 7 and 9-year-old. And what they know about me is that I dig D&D. So they got this book from Target. It's pretty cool. It looks cool. I don't know if I would tell you to go buy it, but if you're deep into the Stranger Things universe and you're sad that it's over, it's definitely an in-universe artifact. There's some pretty cool art. It does feel whatever. I haven't found the Led Zeppelin Zoso cover yet, but it's in here. I know it's in here. So yeah, that was cool. I just I don't know. It's the thought that counts, and they thought of me playing D&D. So yeah, I win Christmas.
I don't love the extended family gift exchange, because then what happens is that when your extended family knows 1 or 2 things about you, then that's all. Because for my whole 20s, all my extended family knew was that I played guitar. So every year I would get an encyclopedia of Les Paul guitars. I'm like, oh, fantastic! This is incredible.
Yeah, we get for the kids, and that is, in my opinion, optimal Christmas logic. Everyone else is boring. Everything else is boring. Also, this is a late addition to the Christmas calling here, but a friend of the show and a member of chat at this very moment, Twin Steel, who was a pivotal part of Nimble 5e, sent me a whole dope, I don't know if it was the peak of the Kickstarter, but oh boy, did I get a lot of bells and whistles. And I was already a fan of Nimble. You can see us playing Nimble in a couple different places, but here on this channel, there's some dope stuff. I guess it depends where you're watching this, but check out Nimble. They're doing a Kickstarter to reprint it because they sold all of it because everybody likes it an awful lot. So if you haven't sunk your teeth into it, all of the complaints that I'm going to have about the UA, if we ever get to that, Nimble doesn't have these problems.
All right, am I
That's it
up?
for my Christmas.
So we've mentioned the fact that alongside of playing Dungeons and Dragons, like a lot of old school D&D players, I also play a lot of tabletop skirmish battle games. And I've mentioned Frostgrave before, and Frostgrave has a great line of miniatures that you can use for D&D because it's a fantasy setting, and they have their miniatures all come on hard plastic sprues, and they're very interchangeable parts, like the old school Games Workshop plastic kits. The new Games Workshop plastic kits are, like more dynamic, better poses. You can't mix and match parts very easily with the new Games Workshop stuff. But the old Frostgrave kits, you can absolutely do that with. And Frostgrave has come out with two new kits recently. This one is Cultists #2. So there's multi-part hard plastic, 28 millimeter figures that you can make 20 different miniatures out of. And like the name of the box, it's all Cultist themed. The original Cultist 1 box is all male characters, and this one is all female cultists. And then there's a Cultist 3 with even more crazy cultist bits. These two boxes would be great for building a warlock character or a druid character. A lot of like crazy organic things like antlers and bone stuff, and that you can put on your miniatures. But Frostgrave has like soldier kits, barbarian kits, knight kits, so you can mix and match. That's the other great thing. You can mix and match the parts from different kits. So if you want to make kind of a, like a fey knight, kind of a green knight kind of character, you could take like the body and the head of the knight kit and then put on the arms from one of the cultist kits or something like that. You can mix and match your bits in really cool ways to kind of kit bash your miniatures. And then Wargames Atlantic makes very similar kits, exact same scale, very similar design, and you can mix and match the Wargame Atlantic miniature kits with the Frostgrave kit. So you can really go to town and customize your miniatures. This is Wargames Atlantic Villagers, and these have 24 miniatures per kit. So you get 4 more than in the Frostgrave kits. So this is the Villager kit. There's like guards and guard captains, as well as like your fishmongers and characters with laundry baskets and all that sort of stuff. So you can make all sorts of villagers. And this one is the classic fantasy guards kit. So this gives you even more like thugs or knight type characters to mix and match with your plastic bits. So these kits are awesome for being able to customize your D&D miniatures. They're super fun kits that you can mix and match and have a great time with.
Cool.
Love a good fishmonger.
Many minis. Is that everyone's haul?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get a nat 20.
Oh, it's a good DM
Close.
tool.
It's a 4. It's very close. So moving on, I thought we would just do kind of a lightning round catch up of some news items recently. There's one thing that I saw just before showtime is that the creator of ICRPG, not the Juggalos, the index card RPG, put out a new Game Master advice book that's apparently system agnostic.
Ooh.
said it's game master advice on building encounters and stuff that's applicable for any system. And I haven't yet, but I am 100% going to buy that because I love index card RPG. I love the way it systematizes things, the way the do system, the something energy, willingness. Crap, I forgot what it was, but it was a way to focus player attention on the important stuff. Even though I can't remember what do stands for now, but I need to go rewatch my old video on that. Runehammer, yes.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I've met Hank. He's a super cool guy. Hank's not his real name. He has like 3 or 4 different names. But
Hank is the best one, though.
And I too like the index card RPG Game Masters book is one of the best game advice books available. It's even if you're not going to actually play the game, it's totally worth the read of the Game Master section of that book. It's phenomenal. Yeah, so I definitely plan on picking up the new book as well because he just does like excellent work.
In other news, James Hake joins the WotC team. Justice Armand has been promoted. James Hake joins the team, which James Hake, didn't he work on 4E?
I know he's done a whole lot of 5E stuff. I don't know if he...
Am I thinking of Intercasso?
I think that Intercasso might be the one.
He's also James. Well, anyway, James Hake is a known name in the industry, and he's either joining or rejoining WotC, depending on which one is true. We don't fact check on the show. Also, Tim Kask, who was WotC or TSR employee number 1, passed away. Also, Brendan Lee Mulligan is guesting as a dungeon master on the TV show Ted, which I think is on Hulu, Paramount, one of the ones that I don't pay for. I don't know. I saw a little bit of Ted. It was exactly like the movie. I saw a little bit of the show. Yeah. So hey, D&D in the mainstream, I'm all for it. Seth MacFarlane seems like a D&D nerd. Yeah, Brad.
Real quick on James Hake. So he, if you watch a lot of YouTube stuff, one of our biggest competitors is the Eldritch Lorecast podcast. They do an awesome job and are far superior to us when it comes to editing and so forth. But James Hake was a regular on that podcast, and he's done a whole bunch of 5th edition freelance stuff. So he's worked on a number of 5th edition products and Adventure League products alongside of Sean Merwin, who I think we all know Sean. So he's done a lot of 5th edition work. He's just now actually been brought in full time and as part of the WotC staff with a game designer title, if I remember correctly. But he seems like a really cool guy. And if you've watched Eldritch Lorecasts, you're familiar with his face.
Knows what he's talking about. Insightful, the right spirit. I'm excited. I think it's a good pickup. I kind of thought he already worked there, but I don't know. I have kind of checked out of keeping tabs on the corporate structure of WotC because that's exhausting.
Yeah.
But
The
good news.
do system is Danger Energy Wonder.
There you go.
Wonder.
Paizo
Hey guys, are we
announces-
sure that there's only one Brendan Lee Mulligan? I think we're having like a multiplicity situation here because he's literally everywhere. I'm not. It's not a complaint. Just to be clear, I like it, but it is confusing.
So are you saying he's the Ryan Seacrest of the?
I would never say that.
The D&D era.
He's got a small child too. His kid's like a year or two old, so I don't know how he does all that with the when my kid was a year or two old, on the 4 hours of sleep a night I was getting, I would not have been able to handle a workload anything close to what BLM is into. Paizo announced a new source book and a new rule book for 2026. The Kansas City Chiefs, boo, released an actual play video, which I watched a little bit of it, and they were all kind of like, bro, can you believe how silly this is? So I kind of tuned out after a while, but still good representation, good for you. If you watch Dimension 20 stuff, you probably might know the name Johnny Stanton, who at least used to be a professional football player. I don't know if he is anymore, but he was a O-line, D-line for the Browns. I'm not sure, but he also does a lot of D&D stuff. But also I guess the Kansas City Chiefs are doing it now, so that's cool. MCDM's new Kickstarter, The Crack the Sun, is their $5 million Kickstarter, which is amazing. Also, Daggerheart, the Darrington Press said that they revealed that when they created their Daggerheart inventory, they had expected their inventory to last for a year, and it sold out in 2 weeks. I'm also noticing that I wrote Dadgerheart in the notes, so Dadgerheart is our next one shot. Dadgerheart is there's a progress clock to get all the kids to use the bathroom before you go, because once we get in the car, I'm not stopping. That's the one shot. Get all the kids to use the bathroom before the trip starts. Daggerheart sold out. They expected to have inventory to last them a year, and they sold it out in 2 weeks.
That's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah. And it just goes to show how, like, at the beginning of a game, how important supplemental material is. When the game is new and fresh and people just want more, 5-6 years down the road, people are going to start complaining about splat books and too much, stuff. But in the beginning, that first and second, probably the third, expansion of the game are like just vitally important to the success of a game. Which reminds us, we need to do our UDare expansion.
Yeah, that thirst for more content. Here's a story. A few years ago, basically during the pandemic, me and my friend Nick, we wrote a series of books together. It was called Six Assassins. It was 6 novels, and basically what we did was, in secret, without telling any of our readers, that he and I plotted and wrote out this whole book series over basically a year. And then we were like, we're going to have the summer of the series. We're going to release them all. We intended to release all 6 books over the summer and 3 weeks apart. And like, that was our master plan, was like the whole summer, every 3 weeks, bam, 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 until all the books are released. And we were like, people are going to love this breakneck pace. They're going to be so happy that they're going to get all these books. And after the first book came out, starting on day 2, it was, we know you guys have finished the whole series. Why can't we have all the books now? It was like just complaints of people being like, 3 weeks is way too long to wait. So, you can't win for losing.
That's crazy.
Roll for Shoes is what UDare is based on.
Yep. Roll for Shoes directly inspired Jim to bring the idea to us, and then we designed UDare around that.
Yeah, that was the inspiration, was when we did the Mimic Cafe. It was that I didn't want to run it in 5e because I knew it would take way, way too long. So I just thought, what is the absolute simplest possible system I could run for this, so that the rules are out of the way, and I just let everyone improv and spend the time making story and not worrying about the dice. And then, that led to Roll for Shoes, and that I modified, and then we all turned it into the Universal D8 rolling engine. Any more comments on the news, or anything that you guys have picked up in the news? I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it over the holidays. Anything I left out? Chat, I leave out anything huge in the last week or two?
The James Hake and the Tim Kask were the 2 biggest pieces of news that I was aware of over the holidays. Yeah. So, I was excited to find out when I read the show notes about Daggerheart. I hadn't heard that. That's how kind of out of the loop I've been the past week and a half.
That's pretty wild indeed.
It's so hard to start a new thing, like physical inventory. I've seen people, lose for winning. Like, you could end up with a warehouse full of material that you have paid for and nobody wants, and that is potentially the death knell of a company. So, like, I am sympathetic to like all of these moves that Darrington Press and Critical Role have been making that we've been speculating about for the same amount of time and prognosticating about and occasionally acting like we know better. But like, ooh, it's scary to make a new thing and be uncertain if you have cashed in on all of your success in order to produce the thing that nobody wants, and then I guess that's it for you and all your friends and all those other people who behind the scenes who are working for you. So you forget about that side of the business, that it's actually a business, which means you can fail, and it's not just a fantasy heartbreaker at that scale. It's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah. Speaking of books that you can't get rid of, and wargaming, my first Warhammer table, I built the tabletop. By the way, the terrain of that tabletop was basically a mock-up of the Halo Blood Gulch map, if you remember the first Halo game. But that tabletop that I built to play Warhammer on with my friends, it stood on a stack of boxes of books that belonged to my then father-in-law. Call back to the earlier conversation about the side of the family that makes my daughter uncomfortable. So my garage in the early 2000s was full of these books that my then father-in-law had written and couldn't sell. I just had stacks and stacks of these boxes of books in my garage for the longest time. I could only put one car in the garage because I had so many boxes.
Indeed. Do you guys want to do a catch-up now? Call this the midpoint, do a catch-up, then we can discuss the UA?
Yeah, sounds good.
I mean, I read the UA. I got thoughts on the UA.
All right.
Anyway, this is the part of the show where we catch up, where we say hey and talk about what we got going on. Brad, Ryan, you guys want to let us know what you got going on? Who wants to go first?
I'm scripting out, and you'll see them launching next month, which is like only a couple of weeks away now. But I took a page out of Ginny D's book after we had some scheduling confusion about this show, and Critical Role didn't come out, and I was in an emotional hangover from the new year. But Dragon of Icespire Peak, the conclusion, which you've all been waiting for with bated breath for, I don't know, 3 years since the SRD stopped me from finishing that series. I'm doing that, and I'm getting back to basics. I like being the guy, the opposite of the gatekeeper. Doors open, come on in. So I'm gonna get back out front for all the new folks coming in to D&D again. So if that isn't you, sorry, you'll be bored, but watch it anyway. Hit mute. Click on the thing, you jerks. But that's it for me. But that's going to be my catch up for the next few weeks.
My catch up is I'm actually starting a new short campaign. I did a little bit of this back in 2023 during the OGL debacle and all that sort of stuff, because we were playing multiple different games instead of D&D. And that year was one of the more enjoyable years. I mean, I enjoy running D&D all the time, but it's one of the more enjoyable years where we played multiple different games and multiple short campaigns that lasted 2 months or 3 months. And so I'm doing that again. My regular Thursday night Shadow Dart game is going to continue. Once we hit February, we're going to get back to that. But on Monday nights, every other Monday night for 2 months, I'm doing another Shadow Dart game with a whole bunch of new players. Some brand new players who've never played D&D at all. I've got a player, a 3.5 player who's never played Shadow Dark, and then a couple of folks who have only dabbled in D&D and are really excited to return to playing. So it's cool. It's a brand new group of. They're all friends, but they're those friends that like always said, "Oh, I want to play, but I never have time." And so I created this every other week structure. It was actually one of my daughter's ideas. This every other Monday structure for 6 different Mondays, and yeah, so we got the dates on the calendar and we're diving in. I'm excited.
Cool. I got invited to play at a game at the library. It's a group that meets at the library once a month, so that's interesting. I got a video come out on Sunday. It's a reboot of an older video. I re-edited, recut, updated the music and stuff. That I think is going to be pretty good. But we'll see. Now that we are all appropriately caught up, let's talk about the new UA that just dropped yesterday, a couple days ago. It is very hot off the presses, and that's not. Oh, I have to add it. There we go.
I've been saying UA this whole time. It's you. You guys say UA?
Is it UA? You know, when you learn
UA.
something by reading it, you never hear people say it out loud. So this UA comes with, for me, when I see UA, I think urine analysis, because I used to work in a drug and alcohol treatment center, and the absolute worst part of that job was that I had to watch people piss in a cup, and then I had to seal it up, and the people were, usually part of the criminal justice system, and so they were mad at me, and I was like, bro, I hate this more than you do. Because you have to do this like once a month. I got to do this like 4 times a day with different people, you asshole.
I was the only male intern at my internship. So whenever a male patient had to do a UA in our clinic, I was the guy who had to watch the guy pee. Yes.
Twin Seal says that checking UAs is the best part of his day. It would be, you freak. Okay. So in the new urine analysis from Wizards of the Coast, we get the Warrior of the Mystic Arts Monk, the Oath of the Spellguard Paladin, the Magic Stealer Rogue, and the Vestige Patron Warlock. These are all Mystic subclasses themed. They are all new. I don't know what this is attached to. Is this obviously a remake of something that I don't see?
I'm feeling like this is a replacement for the Mystic class, because the Mystic, the Scion, there's a third name. They've tried doing a Psychic D&D class like 3 different times, 4 different times, and never really landed.
Yeah, there was a Scion UA like 6 months ago. I guess that didn't turn out to be anything, or wasn't released in anything.
I've not heard anything about that. And there's been, I think, 2 different versions of the Mystic class. So I'm wondering if they're kind of like they did in the new core book, right? There's different subclasses that have psychic powers, like the Rogue is the Soul Knife, right? And there's the Fighter, that's the like Jedi style subclass. How they have kind of this suite of subclasses that are all psychic flavored.
Warrior.
Psy Warrior, yep.
I think that's the Fighter.
Yeah, and then there's isn't there like a psychic sorcerer and a psychic warlock that all kind of those 4 kind of fill the psychic theme for the subclasses in 5.5. So I feel like this is an extension of that, maybe, as a way to, instead of doing a Mystic class, they're doing Mystic subclasses. So again, there's like this suite of subclasses that fill this Mystic role. That was kind of my interpretation of this.
These all felt like things that could have worked in Strixhaven, because they're all either using or fighting magic.
I have no evidence to back this up, because I haven't played Magic the Gathering in 20 years, which is impossible because I'm only 25. But it's giving a Magic the Gathering setting. And I think because the vestige thing and the way I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but the Pally is very like reaction tappy based. Like it felt like MTG to me, but maybe that's because that's the fill in the blank where I'm like, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's Magic because there's 100 of those that I don't know about.
Yeah. Well, let's dig into the subclasses and go through each of them because I got some thoughts. So first up, the Warrior of the Mystic Arts monk is basically a monk with a little sorcerer multiclass and a little bit of Eldritch Knight. So they get spell casting. You get 2 cantrips and some spell slots, which for a low-level monk is absolutely worthless. When you're a low-level monk, you punch with your action, and then you punch with your bonus action. Any other use of your turn is a complete waste. Having Firebolt is completely wasted on a monk. Anyway, so they give you some spell slots up to level 4, which is weird, because even the Eldritch Knight gets up to level... Does Eldritch Knight get up to level 5, or do they only go up? I can't remember. Because Eldritch Knight isn't technically a half caster, right? They're like a third caster, isn't that what you call them?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's... Anyway, that's not important. Anyway, okay, so you can do some sorcery point kind of chicanery between focus points and spell slots. Your spells are all from the sorcerer list, which is disappointing. If it was wizard spells, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, so you can convert back and forth. The thing that I like is that it goes full Eldritch Knight at level 6, where you can replace one of your attacks with the sorcerer cantrip. So, then every single turn, you're Booming Blade on your first attack, or either Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade on attack 1, then attack 2, you're punching, and then you're punch for your bonus action. So that's pretty useful, and then the level 11 and 17 stuff is kind of worthless. Thoughts on the Mystic Arts monk?
Phil in the chat says that this is definitely the same as the Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster spell progression. So it's that third caster design.
Goes up to level 4. Gotcha.
Thanks for confirming that. I will push back on the cantrip thing just a little bit because occasionally a dungeon master puts you in a scenario where marshals really need a ranged attack, where you don't have the ability to get up close, whether it's like a chasm or series of walls and cages or whatever. We clever DMs put players in situations where sometimes they can't get into melee range, so it's not a bad thing to have a ranged cantrip as a monk.
All right, fair enough. Any other thoughts on the monk?
I'm surprised this wasn't the design for the elemental monk in the original 5th edition book.
It is kind of like a replacement for the Sun Soul, right? Yeah, the Sun Soul, which everyone universally agreed was the weakest of all the monks.
No, the Sun Soul was the fix. Way of the 4 Elements.
Yeah, there you go. 4 elements.
The 4 Elements monk from the original 5th edition handbook was just, it was practically useless. It was so underpowered. I'm really surprised that this wasn't the design they used, because it, like we just said, it matches the Arcane Trickster and Eldritch Knight that is in that book. So yeah. I like it. I haven't done a deep dive to crunch the numbers, because honestly, that's not what I do.
That's not what we do here. Go to Treant Monk if you want that crap.
Yep.
We
He's
love
already
Treant
done
Monk.
it, I'm sure. Is the best. It's fine. I don't know. Spells are a hammer, and everything else is a nail. Just give this. This is the part where I'm like, okay, this is fine. There's some Tree and Monk is already working on a way where you dip into Sorcerer or you dip into Monk, and you're turning sorcery points into key,
Mm-hmm.
focus, and like you're just doing some weird broken thing that they didn't because they have a rubric, and it's just like, hey, any class could be 1/3 spellcaster. Just release that for all of them if it's going to be also cookie cutter.
Coffee monk.
And it's yeah, it's not a complaint about this particular subclass so much as like 5e, late 5.5e, of just like if I'm watching a game and I can't tell who's what, everybody's stepping on each other's toes. It's like, that's a sorcerer with 65 feet of movement? Oh no, it's a monk with like, I don't know. What the hell? Everyone, it's all the same now.
Yeah. Well, you guys know I do the D&D club at a school, and we changed the format this school year where it's pay to play, so the parents pay for the kids to be a part of D&D club instead of like the old way we did it that was kind of drop in. And so this is the first time, because the kids really want to do 5th edition. They want to do real D&D, right? So this is the first time I haven't used like my self-designed hybrid or Shadow Dark or anything like that, because with drop in, you need something far more streamlined. So this is the first time I'm actually doing full 5.5 D&D with these kids, and the party is a druid, a wizard, an eldritch knight, a ranger, and I thought I was going to die when the rogue player almost picked arcane trickster for their subclass. Thankfully, they picked assassin, but yeah. So 4 out of 5 characters at the table all have spellcasters, and these are like 9th grade kids who really don't know the game fully yet, and it's going to be some work on my part. I've really got to brush up on my 5.5 rules to run this new campaign that we're starting this semester.
Yeah.
And it would be different if there was a monk spell list. I'd be pumped about this. If it had unique abilities that weren't just the sorcerer things, which are there's a lot of. It's not just like a unique set of spells on the sorcerer's list that aren't represented in the warlock or wizard lists. So it's like,
well,
I don't know. Lazy.
There's some time we can all of us, everybody in chat, we can all go and when they open up feedback for this guy, we can all say that. Maybe. I like that idea, Ryan. A monk spell list.
I'd rather just complain about it on the internet, but I guess I could do the productive thing.
Moving on to the Oath of the Spellguard. Pally. Paladins take the Oath of the Spellguard are sworn to battle those who use magic and harm others. They protect the innocent from wicked mages, prevent magic from falling into villains' hands, and protect mages who use magic honorably. I like these are cool backstory hooks, and then the mechanics are all pretty boring. Basically, at level 3, they get free Mage Slayer feat, basically. And then that's it. Everything else is kind of lame. I mean, they get Circle of Power at level 17, which is this will save your game right here. This will save your campaign. Circle of Power is, I think, one of the best spells in the whole game. Otherwise, the mechanics are pretty boring. You can protect somebody to add your charisma to their AC at higher levels. You can get advantage on Constitution saving throws or whatever, yada yada. I don't know. Cool story, bro, but the mechanics are kind of lame. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Ryan. I have thoughts, but you go first.
This one and the monk just get like, and here's Warcaster, because I don't know what else to do for you. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like the interpose of it all. I can take my reaction to boost your AC. Like that's Paladin class fantasy. Here's some spells that you already have or could get because everyone gets every spell if you want it. I get a little upset about the stipulation that it's verbal somatic material is interesting because so many things are not spells. Like more things now that monsters are doing are not spells, are magical abilities. So that Spellguard Strike is actually less valuable in 2024 than it would have been in 14.
Mhm.
And that's weird. That's more words to make it worse. They're not in the business of nerfing things too often.
Hmm.
Yeah, it
They
seems
do magic, I bonk. It seems much cleaner and simpler and more fun.
Especially that's their main thing, because then at level 15 they get a free counterspell whenever they bonk.
Mhm.
So this is pretty campaign dependent, right? If
Yeah, very much.
they're, yeah, you're gonna need to have a mage in every single battle in order for this paladin to feel useful.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to have that mage use actual spells out of the book,
Yeah.
not the new, like Phil's saying, the new NPC design, where they have these like arcane blasts or arcane shields or whatever in their NPC stat blocks. So if you really want to make this character feel cool, you're going to have to take those mage NPC stat blocks and give them actual spells to cast. So this puts some work on the dungeon master for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
this could be really fun for like a one shot where you've got a group of Spellguard paladins who are infiltrating a corrupt mages college.
mm,
Something like that, an enclave of evil wizards, and they're 4 members of the Spellguard strike team who are all paladins, and they're like, none of them are wizards, so they only have their paladin magic, but they have to go use their Spellguard abilities to defeat all these mages. That could be pretty fun.
yeah, yeah, I like that concept. Um,
We're a holy order of a church that says only our God gets to have magic.
Mm,
Smite.
I wonder if Paladin is the new fighter when it comes to subclass design.
mm,
If you guys remember early on in 5th edition design, the fighter class was so solid. Like there's a lot of good stuff in the 5e fighter. That the fighter subclasses uh, seemed pretty weak sauce when you compared them to other subclasses. But
Hmm.
you had to realize that the fighter subclasses were on par with most other subclasses because they were attached to the fighter chassis. Because the fighter chassis was so robust that the fighter subclasses couldn't be too powerful and couldn't be really that distinct from each other.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
and the 5.5 paladin is similar. I think the core class of the paladin is really solid and pretty robust in how powerful it is as a class. So I'm wondering if paladin subclasses are fall into that same vein that the fighter subclasses used to fall into.
That was a measured and deeply insightful take.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there'll be a dip in the views right now. It's like, nah, that makes too much sense. He's not even angry about this.
No, I should have used my ranty voice. That might help the audience's attention.
Say all that
that's
again,
deeply-
Brad, but put on a MAGA hat so we'll get
No,
some.
No.
Same opinion, different hat. You hate it. Yeah, the Oath of the Spellguard Paladin could be cool in very particular circumstances. Otherwise, flavor kind of boring. Then we get to the basically the same thing, but in a Rouge version, the Magic Stealer. While ordinary thieves are cutting purses and burgling homes, the Magic Stealers after much more valuable prize magic, which is just kind of like a flavor of the regular rogue. I don't know. They get empowered sneak attack, which seems very powerful to me. Immediately after a creature you can see within 30 feet casts a level 1 or higher spell, you can take a reaction to absorb energy, and then you do additional d6s of force damage equal to the level of the spell. You can do that a number of times equal to your int mod. Seems pretty powerful. Once you're getting up to 3rd, 4th, 5th level spells, you're adding a lot of d6s to your sneak attack.
Mm-hmm.
Drain magic also seems pretty powerful too. You could drain magic from ongoing spells to recharge your allies. As a magic action, you touch a willing creature and end one ongoing level 1 or level 2 spell on it. The creature immediately, so that's basically any charm. Most charms. Most of them are low level. Creature immediately recovers 1 expended spell slot of level 2 or lower. And you can do that once per short rest. So every single combat, this rogue can go cleric and just nullify an ability that the DM puts on a PC. I'm wondering if that was supposed to be level 6, because there's 2 level 3 abilities and nothing. Doesn't the rogue have a subclass level up at 6?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but then the other abilities are kind of what you expect. It's basically Mage Slayer kind of stuff. You can give the disadvantage on saving throws to do an intelligence saving throw to cast a spell. It's the resistance. Blah 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 blah. Boring stuff. You finish long rest. You cast non-detection spell. Improve drain magic. You can use drain magic as a bonus action. That's wild. Level 1, 2, or 3. Wow. Goodness, what do you guys think of the Magic Stealer? Seems a little powerful to me.
It does.
Very
Again, talking subclasses attached to the class chassis, this does seem like a pretty powerful class when the rogue is already one of the more powerful classes, I think.
Phil says rogue is 339.
Phil knows all. Super cool, super situational. I feel like there's a little bit of this going on, but I feel like a lot of these subclasses would be better served packaged in a campaign, right? Like having bespoke, which I guess Strixhaven does this. A few adventures have done this, but in the right campaign, this is wildly overpowerful. In other campaigns, again, because a lot fewer things coming at the players are actually spells. A lot of your choices might not come up all that often were you to do this, but this might be my favorite in the bucket here. But that might be my rogue preference, my rogue bias coming out.
Yeah. I'm looking at a potential fix for this. The 5.5 has the magic action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the stat blocks for the NPCs that cast spells. A lot of their abilities have the word magic in them. I guess not all of them though. Like there's the mage has protective magic. The archmage had another ability called something magic. I was hoping that if enough of these spell-like abilities that the NPC stat blocks had the word magic in them, then you could, in the text, you could say when a target uses a magic action. And then clarify in an errata that any NPC ability that has the title magic in it would be considered a magic action. But there's not, clicking through all the different NPC stat blocks like I was just doing, there's not enough. The NPC abilities don't all have the word magic attached to the name. So that wouldn't work. I was hoping I was onto something, but no.
One hand is removing leveled spell casting from the Dungeon Master side of the game, while this seems to be focused on things that proc when leveled spells happen, and it's just a mismatch that confuses me.
Mm.
Like different design teams not communicating with each other, yada yada yada. Sideshow Bob steps on a rake.
So moving on to the final new subclass in this UA is the Vestige Patron, which asks the question, what if your Warlock patron was just a little guy?
He's just a little guy.
He was just a little guy. And this is basically a Warlock version of Beastmaster. That instead of summoning a familiar, you summon your patron, which is an interesting kind of concept. But essentially, they just took basically, well, first was the Drake Warden, then they used the Drake Warden as a template for the new Beastmaster, where the main difference is that you can command your little guy with a bonus action instead of an action, and that the little guy scales as you level, which is how Drake Warden works. Isn't that how Beastmaster works? Does your familiar guy scales with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't used to be in 5e. It was like you got a wolf, and that's your wolf, and that's it, and that's just your wolf. And when you're level 3 or level 18, but
It's
yeah,
gonna be
now
really
you-
cool for like 3 levels, and then
Yeah,
make a new character.
yeah, because this one scales. You get AC 13 plus your Cha, HP 4 plus 4 times your Warlock level. And it can do some cool. It's you pick whether your little guy is a celestial, fiend, or undead, and then he can do a cursed invocation, fiendish swap, or healing touch based on which one he is. And then after that, it's basically like a warlock with cleric spells. I don't know why. That's kind of interesting, but yeah. So then you choose a cleric domain and take some spells from that. And then basically your little guy gets more powerful as you level up. And so this is kind of an odd one. I think I kind of like it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat of kind of liking it. Even though it's a little weird. I wish you could pick Faye, so if you could have Tinkerbell. That would be cool. Yeah, I'm trying to connect the dots between the small patron, the term vestige, and getting cleric spells. Like I feel like I'm missing some sort of connection between those two things, and I want to connect those dots, but it's just not. It's not working for me.
It just occurred to me, I think this is a Terry Pratchett joke. I've read this book.
Huh?
This is a Terry Pratchett. This is in Discworld. Like if a god stops getting worshipped, it just like shrinks down.
Oh,
This is Terry Pratchett. This is Discworld.
okay.
Oh.
And that's where the cleric spells come in because it's a shrunken god.
It's a little god that you rescued from the whatever, the astral sea or something.
Gotcha, because and it's a vestige. It's like what's this little leftover piece of this god that everyone stopped believing in. Okay, now I like it. Thank you, Ryan. You saved it for me. Yeah.
I had
Thank Terry
not
Pratchett.
made that connection before. Yeah, so if you want to have your patron, the thing about playing a warlock is usually your patron sort of steps in whenever the dungeon master needs to impart information to you, or you've done something that your patron wouldn't approve of. But this way, this is a very different sort of roleplay concept. Your patron is always there because he's a little guy.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, this puts the onus on the player to initiate that role play interaction between themselves and the patron.
Yeah, maybe so.
Which is different, and could be really good with the right player, right? Even though as a dungeon master, I've always liked role playing the patron, or at least role playing the vibe that the patron gives. Because sometimes, like with a patron, I don't actually like use a voice for the patron. I just describe, environmental impacts, or kind of telekinetic like impressions or telepathic impressions versus a talking patron. But either way, I love role playing the patron. Is my point. But this could be maybe the warlock I play when I get to be a player, so I can role play both me and my patron.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of the same thing as an animal familiar who can speak at table by table, whether the dungeon master is going to role play that or whether the player wants to contribute.
Yeah.
So I don't know, kind of weird. I think we like it. Yeah. I don't know, Ryan, you're still tugging on the facial hair.
I just do that. That's my thinking face. It's a big swing, right? Like give me something different, and this is that. So yeah, this feels like they've added something new-ish, and that's all I want. If you're gonna add stuff, make it different. Make it like, I mean, like character-wise, like, yeah, you're a weird little dude with a smaller weird dude on your shoulder that's like saying, like, demanding to be worshipped in like whatever ancient Egyptian. Like, cool, that's weird. I like it. That's D&D. That could be metal or hilarious or both.
Right.
Yeah, I dig this one. I don't know if I play it. It doesn't quite like gel in my brain as far as like at the table, but it's cool conceptually.
I mean, I guess I'm seeing, well, it's kind of funny that it does feel new, but basically what they've done is taken the Beastmaster and reflavored it, basically. But it does feel new, and I'm thinking about it here as the concept is sort of settling on me. It'd be like I would play a pirate, and when I join the party, there's a little parrot on my shoulder, and somebody else in the party would be like, "Oh, I like your little pet. How long have you had your pet?" And I'd be like, "Pet? This is my god. This is my god that I worship." The parrot's like, "Squawk, bow to my feet, kneel before me." The parrot's like, "Quack, take a knee." That would be fun.
Yeah. I think if I was going to go a little eldritch with this, I would have like some sort of like, not like an obvious octopus, but some sort of like tentacled growth that's like on the neck of my character, and like only the character can hear its voice, and is always talking to this like weird growth that's on its neck. I think that's how I would get with this. Or the Tinkerbell thing. Just go full
Tinkerbell.
Yeah, just full Peter Pan, Faye, Tinkerbell.
I mean, if it were my campaign, Brad, I would absolutely let you have a Faye. Yeah. Absolutely let you have Tinkerbell, and we would just call it Celestial to make it work. Because what monster would say no to Tinkerbell? Any final thoughts on the Vestige Patron or any of the other subclasses here?
Well, on the subject of the Warlock with Tinkerbell, just throwing this out there as character building idea. There's actually a quote about Tinkerbell with character, and I'm not sure where it comes from, but that because she's so small, she only feels one emotion at a time, and because she only feels one emotion at a time, she feels that emotion so fully. So that could be some cool role-playing fodder, that if your god is this like little fey creature that only feels one emotion at a time, that would be a cool way to like spice up the role play, where your character's trying to calm down this angry spirit, or quiet this like overly ecstatic, joyous spirit, right? Like you might even be able to like make yourself a little roll table to find out what emotion it has that day. Like a fun way to use that class.
Your tiny like skeletal pirate being like, "I am a vengeful god." I
would imagine. So
all right, that's my new favorite.
The parrot is always demanding everyone bow down to him, and I'm like, shh. My lord, my God, please be quiet. And the parrot's like, "You're all not worthy. None of you are worthy. Bow down to me." I want to do that now.
I just had another idea. It's going to spin like Ryan. You just spun up another idea in my head. what if this little patron is a puppet?
I'm out. Ventriloquism is my line. I established that in session 0.
The warlock is always talking to this puppet, and everybody thinks that he's just absolutely crazy.
We'll do lines and veils later. Rule number 1: no fucking puppets. My table, my rules. All right. Well, I think we're about done here. Any final thoughts?
It was really nice at the end of Stranger Things. They are playing Curse of Strahd, and I am playing Curse of Strahd. So my phone exploded as each player got to that point, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was. I'm surprised they got the rights to mention Strahd. But that was a cool little touchstone, and that is like kind of the 80s module. You could quibble about that, but like, yeah, I liked it. I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, the original Castle Ravenloft module was out in the 80s, so that it works. But didn't they, when Wizards of the Coast put the 5e rules in the Creative Commons, didn't they accidentally include the name Strahd? Wasn't that one of the names that they accidentally included in the SRD? Yeah,
That's what Twin Steel says.
Twin Steel says, yeah. So that's why they could actually use the name Strahd, because of that that slip up by WotC.
Did you say they say Barovia and Saint Markovia? Like they go deep into the module.
It's true. So maybe they did get permission for all that.
I think they got the hat tip. And
So-
I did like the passing of the torch at the end.
Yes, I was.
We didn't really talk about like they pack up and leave, and it's this like poignant like growing up moment. And then Holly runs downstairs with her friends. It's like, why do you get to be DM? It's like, because it was my idea. It's like, oh, Holly, you're trapped in that seat for the next decade, honey. I'm sorry. you don't know what you've done.
Want the power. You think you want it now. So to wrap up, let's get a roll here. Let's see how our weekend's gonna go.
All right. Hey,
Okay.
not
All
bad.
right,
Pretty good.
Yeah.
16's pretty good. We'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening. Welcome back to us. And again, let me say, go Broncos. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We love you, and we'll see you later.
Go Seahawks.